Hi, it's Andy here at Photech Video. In today's video, we're going to look at do you and why do you need to use a neutral density filter in your indoor or studio portrait shoots. First of all, you need to ask yourself three important questions. Number one, do you want to have creative control over your images? Number two, do you want to completely control the light in your images? And number three, are you able to work in complete darkness? If the answers to questions number one and questions number two are yes, and the answer to question number three is no, then yes, you need a neutral density filter for your indoor or studio portraits. So why did I say if you don't want to work in complete darkness? Well, the reason is, for example, as you can see, the studio is illuminated. I have two LED lights here which are illuminating this section of the studio and myself. And then behind me I have our key light for our model who will be coming in just a moment, and the camera here, which is you guys, which I'm talking to right now, is the one which is being illuminated by these two LED lights. The exposure here is set so that I can record this video at 24 frames per second in 4K, and therefore the ideal shutter speed is 1/50th of a second. Now, with that combination, my auto ISO is set between 100 and 800 ISO, and at this very moment it's on about 240 ISO. Now I'm very happy with that, because 1/50th of a second and only needing to use 240 ISO is going to give me a pretty noise-free image. So that's the video section looked at. Now you may not be using a video section, so maybe you're thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. But yes, it does, unless you can work in complete darkness. And to obtain complete darkness in your studio or at home is quite difficult. I'm looking out here, for example, and I have some light coming in through the shutters which I have on my windows. Not very much, but there is some. So if I turned off these studio lights, it still would not put my room in complete darkness. So to have complete control, I'm going to need to do other things. So let's now turn to the camera itself, okay? Now, I know this space, and I know that if I want to control by 100% the light which appears in my image, then I need these settings. So first of all, I'll tell you what my settings are, and then I'll explain why they are that, okay? So the first thing we have to look at then is the shutter speed. Now, shutter speed, I'm using flash here in the studio. So shutter speed is dependent on flash. We want our shutter speed to be as quick as possible, or as fast as possible, without going over the flash sync speed. If we go over the flash sync speed, we're going to see some of the curtain in the image. So the shutter speed in my Panasonic S5 is 1/250th of a second. I always keep just a little bit below that, and therefore I always set my shutter speed when I'm using flashes in the studio to 1/200th of a second. The next variable we're going to touch on is the ISO. We want our ISO to be as low as possible. As I said before, the lower the ISO, the less noise we're going to have in this case, not video, in our still photo. The lowest ISO on my Panasonic S5 is 100, so that's set to 100. So there we have then two variables set, and they are fixed, especially for this small studio. So we have 1/200th of a second and ISO 100. The only other variable which we have to be able to get complete control over the light in our image is our aperture, our f-stop. And I know from experience that f5.6 with those other two variables is going to give me a completely black image. So our model has finally arrived. Here with us today in the studio is the Quiet Carol. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us today. Now unfortunately you're not going to be able to check out her Instagram account as she hasn't got one yet, but if you want to book her as your permanent muse for all of your photographic experiments, check out my affiliate links down in the description, where you'll be able to find information on Quiet Carol and also some of her friends. Okay, so let's take a test shot with our studio lights turned on. Remember, these are my studio lights, but yours could be overhead lights. We don't want to work in the dark, okay? So we're going to be taking this test shot at 1/200th of a second, f5.6 and 100 ISO. Let's see whether or not we get total control over our lighting. So are we ready, Carol? After 3, 1, 2, 3, and there we have it. We can see that we have a totally black photo. That means that we have total control over the lighting in this studio, which is exactly what we want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on our key light, which I have right next to me. It's at about 45 degrees to Carol, and it's pointing down a little so that we get nice reflections. So let's turn on our flash trigger, and we have also turned on our projector, which is going to create our artificial background. So are we ready then, Carol? After 3, 1, 2, 3, and there we can see that what we have is correctly illuminated. Carol, I'm going to just turn that just a little bit more to that side to give a bit more shadow to the other side of her face. And we have our artificially created background there, which is on the side that it enters, pretty much in focus, and on the other side just goes a little bit out of focus, but no more than that out of focus, for the simple reason that I'm shooting at f5.6, and if we take a look here, we can see that the distance between the camera and Carol is actually shorter or less than the distance to the background. That's why we're getting some out of focus on the background, all right? f5.6 is generally a pretty safe aperture to use in a studio if we want to get the front and the back of our subject all in focus. However, that's not always the case, and we may want to use our creative control. And to use our creative control, the only variable which we have is our aperture. If our aperture is stuck at 5.6 because our ISO is at its minimum and our shutter speed is dependent on our flash sync speed, the only variable that we can change then is our aperture f-stop. However, look what happens. I'm going to turn off our flash trigger so we can see exactly reality, okay? So this is what the camera can see. I didn't actually need to take a test shot because I can see what the camera can see. This is a mirrorless camera, and at the moment everything is completely black. Okay, so I'm on f5.6. Let's say then I want to move it down to take advantage of the fact that this is a prime lens and it has a 1.8 aperture. So let's bring it down to 1.8 and look what's happened. Okay, so we can now see our subject completely. Her face is illuminated. It's illuminated obviously because we have 2 video lights here which are powering onto her. What can I do? I want to use my creativity to be able to give some out of focus background, okay? I can do that because I've got an f1.8, but now I'm not controlling the light. And it may make a difference, it may not make a difference. But the reality is we do want to control our light 100% if we can. So this is where our neutral density filter comes in. And this is my neutral density filter. It's a K&F concept, and it's a screw-on 9-stop neutral density filter. It's an ND2 to an ND400. For this particular case, I do recommend a variable neutral density filter. In some cases in photography, you want to be more exact with your ND filters, a 1-stop, a 2-stop, a 3-stop, or whatever, to know exactly so that you can change your other variables. In the studio here, that's not necessary. So let me show you. I'm going to attach this to my camera, okay, and immediately you can see what's happening. Okay, so let's play around then on the variable neutral density filter to see when light comes back into the image. All right, so we can see then, and there immediately I can see that there's light coming in, so I'm just going to turn it a little bit more, and there we go. So we are back again to total darkness in our camera. We are on f1.8 and we have total control of the light, which is having our cake and eating it too. And because we've just created darkness there right on the edge of some light coming back in, our exposure should be pretty much the same as what the exposure was at f.6. So we shouldn't need to change our key light, and we shouldn't need to change our background light. It's not scientific because sometimes that neutral density filter may be just a little bit too far gone, and therefore you do need a bit more light. If that's the case, just increase the power on your flash, increase the power on your background light, or whatever. Let's turn on our flash trigger and see if this is going to work or not. So, are you ready, Carol? After 3, 1, 2, 3, and there we have it. I think that's pretty clear, no? Carol is still correctly illuminated, and our background, which could have been a solid background or could have been a solid object, in this case it's the projector, is actually completely out of focus. So we've been able to add our creative control into the complete lighting control just by using a variable neutral density filter. So why did I say I recommend a variable neutral density filter for this instead of a fixed one? Well, because if we had a fixed one, we'd have to keep playing in and out with those different neutral density filters. Whereas with the variable one, look what happens if I decide, yeah, that's nice actually, but maybe I want to give back a bit more focus to that background. So instead of being at f1.8, I'm going to bring it up to, let's say, for example, f4, to see if I can bring back some of the focus to the background, but not all of it. So let's just readjust our variable filter until we start to get some light in. And I would say that once the autofocus begins to kick in, we've probably found that point. Okay, so are we ready, Carol? And there we go. So again, we can see that what we've managed to do here is to bring back some of the sharpness to the background, but not all of it. Let's go to the first one. This was our f5.6, where we can see that our background is completely in focus. This is our f1.8, where we can see that our background is now nicely out of focus. And then this was on f4 to bring back some of the focus to the background, but not all of it. I could have increased a little bit there, more the key light on Carol, but as this particular video is more interested in how we can use our creativity in the depth of field in the image, that's not a big issue. But I hope this video has made it clear how and why we should use neutral density filters in the studio or in our indoor portrait sessions. As I said before, you'll find affiliate links to all products used and mentioned in this video in the description section down below. Please check that out. If you do decide to buy anything through one of my affiliate links, the price to you will be the same, and I will receive a small commission which will help me to continue creating content for you here on this channel. Please do leave your questions and comments in the comment section down below. I always answer your questions and comments, and please remember that interacting with the channel helps me to know the kind of content that you would like me to create in the future. Well, I hope you found this video interesting and informative. If you did, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and ring on that notification bell to be notified every time a new video drops on my channel. Until the next time, this is Andy at Photech Video signing off. Take care and be safe.